Hi, I'm Andy Cloyd, Museum Director here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum. It's Medal of Honor Monday, and it's also our July Inspiring Story of Service. Today's story comes from Captain Florent Groberg, U.S. Army retired, Afghanistan veteran, and Medal of Honor recipient. We'll be talking today about American reflections on duty, service, and freedom. It's an honor to talk to him today. So you grew up in Europe, and you came to America when you were, I think, in middle school. What did it mean for you to become an American citizen?
So, great question, right? I grew up in Paris, just outside of Paris, France. And so I didn't speak English when I first came to the United States in 1994. I was 11 years old, sixth grade, so middle school. And for the first, 2 years, I went to a French international school. And so, just one, to be able to learn English and not being thrown right into the mix. But second, because I needed to still be part of my roots, if that made sense. But I remember coming here and everything's just different, right? Europe and the United States are very different places.
Right.
I lived in a city where everything moved fast. You didn't need a car. I walked to school as a 6-year-old, right, by myself. I didn't see my mom almost all day because she worked multiple hours. And so you go play sports, you walk around the city by yourself. It was just very different than I come here. And it's just, a house. I lived in an apartment my entire life, right? So there's a house in a neighborhood with big cars. Everything's just bigger. And so it was really, I would say shocking at first, but exciting, right? Because the yellow bus, the idea of school bus, we didn't have that.
Right.
So that's TV, that's movies, right? So here I am witnessing this. It was super cool. And I'm in one of those buses. I'm like, man, they're bouncy, right? It's just kind of funny. But you fast forward years later. I mean, I came in, so almost 7 years later, I am becoming a naturalized citizen. The funny thing about that is I always felt American at that point. I knew I was always French, but when I got that paper, and I didn't have to do anything, right? Because I was adopted, and I was a minor. So the process is very seamless for me. I never had an interview, nothing. So it was just like one day I show up, to my house, and there's a piece of paper with my naturalization certificate. Right. And my mom's like, "Hey, look, you're officially American." I was like, "Okay, I feel, went to high school and stuff. I feel American anyway. My dad's American." So it wasn't this whole thing about now, congratulations, right? You can feel American. And I think that's because I grew up in a family where it doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you respect values and you act like a best possible person you can be with the people around you. And I fell in love with this country early on, and so I adopted in my heart this country right away. And I've always felt blessed to be here. So I guess in hindsight today, I look at it as like a momentous type of occasion that I failed to realize its true meaning as a 17-year-old. But I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate the mindset that I had too, because this country made me feel like I was at home right away.
What was it? Can you remember what your first 4th of July was like? Your first Independence Day here in the U.S. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, we went to a barbecue, and I thought it was really cool because we don't eat hot dogs and burgers like we do here. So I went to this barbecue and with my parents, and it was just like we played games outside, the fireworks, right? It's like Bastille Day in France, right? So the 14th of July. And the funny thing is, I do believe that the French school system is outstanding. And so we learned, I think I knew more about July 4th, and I knew more about the U.S. history than a lot of my peers in the U.S. So that was very interesting. So I understood what the Independence Day meant. I was just really much looking forward to the fireworks, and I have never seen fireworks like my first July 4th here, in France, ever, nowhere near. Even when the big soccer games and stuff like that, we had fireworks in France, but I remember sitting there that night and being mesmerized by the amount of fireworks and how happy everyone was, and to be American, right? And to celebrate that day. And so it was 1994 when I went through it. it was just awesome. I felt like, I was a kid though. I just wanted to eat the food and play around, but it was so cool. But I still remember it to this day. But my freshman year in college, 9/11 happens 7 months after I've been naturalized as a U.S. citizen. So at this point in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, the same people that terrorized my family in Algeria are now have attacked my adopted country, right? The same type of individuals. And so at that moment, I knew that my path was cemented. I knew exactly what I had to go do. And that was to go out there and serve, raise my right hand, take an oath, and go serve this nation and go fight these people. And so I wanted to drop out of school, but my father had a conversation with me, and he asked me one specific question, which was like, what did I ask of you when I gave you my name? And I couldn't remember at the time, of course, but he reminded me, and it was, when a Groberg starts something, he or she finishes it, because the day that you learn to quit is the day that you will quit everything you start for the rest of your life, whether it's school, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, what is a commitment, you will quit it. So, sleep on it tonight and make the tough decision. And then I'll never forget what he said after. He's like, Flo, what has just happened in our country, that's not an overnight thing. This is going to change our way of life going forward. And I promise you that you will have time to make an impact. And then it's not going to be a 1 year, 2 year thing. This is going to be a long-term type of conflict. And was he ever right? Right? Was he ever right? And so I made that decision. I went to sleep. I was a little angry, but the next morning I woke up and I decided I'll go through school, I'll get my degree, and then I'll join right after.
You talk about in your book 8 Seconds of Courage and what happened on that day in August. And how is being a Medal of Honor recipient, how has that changed you?
Well, it hasn't. It's given me a platform to go out there and give back and continue serving in a very different fashion. But it hasn't changed me. I'm still the same exact individual that I was prior to the medal. I mean, I'm growing as an individual, like everyone grows in life through experiences, right? But it hasn't changed who I am. It hasn't changed my aspirations. I work a full-time job. I'm engaged in the community just as much as I was engaged before, except now I have a platform to do a little bit more. I can open certain doors a little bit faster than I could before because I am a Medal of Honor recipient. And so it gives me an opportunity to do more in that essence. So at least move the needle a little bit faster than I could prior. But that's about it. Otherwise, yeah, there's no reason for it to ever change me. It's not my medal. I'm a recipient of the medal. I'm a courier. This is the U.S. government. It's our military's award. I'm just expected to represent it. And so that to me is a challenging but a very important mission. And there's no, I didn't make a movie. I didn't score a Super Bowl, touchdown. This is very different, right? This was my life, and people died on that day for us. And so it's a constant reminder that, I get to represent to the best of my abilities what this nation is all about. And that is a nation willing to sacrifice, to make sure that the majority of us live in a free country with opportunities.
You have this platform now, but you've certainly probably learned some stuff, and I'm curious as to what those values are to you that you carry on through today.
There are a lot. There's not one specific.
Right.
I think loyalty is a big one. Loyalty to your team, loyalty to your friends. But I would say probably most importantly, I've taken away the idea of responsibility and leadership. And by that, I mean how to lead teams or be a part of a team and respect everyone around us. One of the most unique part of serving is the ability to be surrounded with a group of people that is so different, so diverse. You have individuals with master's degree versus GEDs. You have individuals who are white, Black, Asian. You have individuals who are Muslim, Christians, atheists, Jews. You have individuals who are gay and straight. You have individuals who come from Compton in California, and the others come from Maine, right? And we're all wearing the same uniform in the same setting with the same mission, putting our lives in each other's hands and finding a way to not only respect each other, but love each other to the point where we're willing to die for each other. And that to me is the greatest value and lesson that I learned in the military is how to be part of a diverse group and learn how to respect people and have the integrity to do what's right and supporting those individuals who potentially don't see don't believe in my specific, point of views, but still having the ability to listen and be able to take my pride at times and put it to the side and do what's more important for the team's success. And that's the military. And it has taught me so much about values, but I would say that's probably the best way to describe it.
If there are veterans listening to this and thinking, and I wish someone had told me that when I was leaving service. What advice do you have for veterans out there in that transition?
Well, one, don't expect things to come and be handed to you. It's like anything else in life, specifically anything else in the military, you need to put together a plan. So I would say the first thing a transition veteran should do is invest in themselves. And by that means build a network, right? Understand the resources are at your hands. So if you're in the military still and you're about to transition, there's the OSO Pathfinder program, right? Understand what programs are your local base that will allow you to successfully plan for the next stage in your life and career, right? So you need to have your first 6 months figured out the day you get your DD-214. Where you're going to live, where you're going to go to school, where is kindergarten, for your kids if you have kids, what job you're going to have, what your route to work is going to look like. All these things, I would say you have an opportunity to set yourself up for success, prior to actually transitioning. Too often, I've met individuals who transition and they don't have a plan. They just figured, well, I'll go home, I'll probably go to school, or I'll get a job. I'll figure it out. I have like 2 months of like ETS leave, and then that 60 days, it goes by quick. And then, so unless you're getting, a medical payment or you're getting, your retirement financially, you better have a game plan. So I would say that's step one. But to be successful in that step, you need to start networking. There's a great resource called LinkedIn. You go out there in LinkedIn and you create a free profile, and then you can go out there and start communicating with people. What I would say in that case is, you need to figure out like, who do you want to communicate with? So take a piece of paper, break it in half, right? On one side, write 10 things you love to do and that you'd be interested in doing going forward. And then on the other side, write 10 things you absolutely don't want to do. Mine was simple. Like, at least I remember the first thing I wrote on the right side when things I didn't want to do was, I don't want to be sitting in front of a computer in a cubicle for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. That would drive me absolutely completely crazy.
That wasn't you.
Yeah. And so on the other side, things I wanted to do, I wanted to travel. I wanted to be mission centric. I wanted to be part of a group of individuals. I wanted to be work in a very fast paced environment with, expectations that were at times potentially unrealistic, right? Kind of like I was trying to figure these things out. What it did though at the end is it eliminated a lot of potential career paths because of the things that I knew I wanted to do and things I knew I sure as heck did not want to do. And then what I did after that is that I started reaching out to mentors, individuals with a similar background, and asked them if they could be my mentor. And so I found 2 mentors, and then through them I built my network and opportunities presented themselves. And that was a good start. So I would say invest in yourself, get a mentor, build a network, be honest with yourself and things that you want to do and things you don't want to do. And then based off that, start putting your plan together. But you need to start when you're still in the service.
The original medal that you have, you actually put it at Fort Carson. And I wanted to know if you could talk about why that medal is at Fort Carson.
Yeah.
And what that means to you to keep it there as part of the 4th Infantry Division and that. So why is it at Fort Carson?
Well, my unit's from Fort Carson. So,
Okay.
I ran the, personal security detail for, at the time, Colonel Mingus, who was a 4th ID, 4th Brigade commander. And so, August 8, 2012, that's the day that we lost Command Sergeant Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and Reggie Abdel Fattah. That's the worst day of my life. And though I was awarded the medal for actions on that specific day, every day when I think about August 8th, I think about, these individuals here. And so to me, when I received the Medal of Honor, I never felt comfortable with it and still will never feel comfortable with it. But I listened to Sal Junta's reasoning behind giving his medal back to the 173rd, and I just thought that was brilliant. The medal belongs to the unit. It's not mine. Like I said, I'm a courier. And so I sat down with Clint Romeshay, who is, part of the 361 Cavalry, and he received a medal for what happened at Keating. And him and I thought that we should follow Sal's example and return our medal to the unit to be displayed there, because it represents men, for in our case, who didn't come home. It represents the history of this unit. It represents all those individuals for a brigade that went to combat. And so there's no better home for the medal but to be at the brigade level, at the division headquarters. And for us, that means the world. So now any new soldier that comes through division headquarters will be able to look at these medals and say, wow, I'm proud of being part of this unit because this is where we've been. And some of these are, these are the people that I've died, fighting for this unit. And so that it just made so much more sense for us to do it. It's the right thing to do, in my personal opinion.
If we were giving titles out, that might be Medal of Honor recipient might be the last thing that you would have on your resume, so to speak. So what else do you want people to know about you?
Yeah, I think the saying is like, when I pass away, I want people to remember me as a great husband, hopefully a great father. I say hopefully because I don't have kids yet. A great father, a business executive who invested a lot of time in his community, and who honorably served in war. And then at the end, maybe be like, oh, and he was a Medal of Honor recipient as well. But I don't want to be Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg. I'd rather be remembered as a person, a good person, that serve his nation, I guess, right? Then remember, it's 8 seconds of my life, right? Like I guess the life changed based off that action, but 8 seconds. I don't want that to define me, who I am. And I think there are more important things in life. And I'm hopeful that this is, in my lifetime, at least, the last big war that we're going to be in, so that years down the road, people won't have to remember exactly what is a Medal of Honor recipient, but instead that we can judge each other based off actions that are driving our communities in the right direction. And then at the end they'll be like, hey, oh, this guy also he served his country, he's a Medal of Honor recipient. So that's just the way I'm thinking about it. I don't want it to define me, and I think I have a heck of a lot left to do to help our communities and our nation and our world. So it drives me to think that way in the right direction, I believe.
Great to have a conversation with you today. We now consider you a friend of the museum. We want you to come visit us in Columbus. You've got to see this place. We built this museum for you and all those who won't be coming back. But this is for all veterans and their families. And it reminds us, I think, every day, this museum, what it means to honor, connect, inspire, and educate people about what veterans like yourself do and continue to do for us in this country. So, Flo, thanks for being with us today. It was great getting to know you. I hope everyone got to know you a little bit better today.
Agree, Andy. Thank you so much for inviting me. Well done. Continue, driving the mission that you're driving. It's incredibly important to tell those stories, to highlight the work that you're doing, to highlight difficult conversations like PTSD. And so it's super important. Well, most importantly, I'm glad you're in that part of the world or country where some people, because I've been in Columbus a few times. Heck, it's my stop, my layover. I'm doing a red eye to go to Fort Bragg tonight for some work event, and I'll be stopping in Columbus for 1 hour. So next time I'm gonna make it a little bit longer and then come see y'all.
Yep, absolutely. Invitation's always there. All right, Flo, we'll talk soon. Thanks for being here today. Thanks. To hear more inspiring stories of service, visit our website at nationalvmm.org. And don't forget, the National Veterans Memorial Museum is open Wednesday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Plan your visit today.